right, let's talk about sales interviews. And I mean, let's really talk about them. Forget everything you think you know about a typical job interview. Today, we're going to flip the script. We're not just preparing for a test. We're going to treat this as your first and most important winning sale. Let's get into it. So, here's the biggest mistake I see people make time and time again. They walk into that room like a candidate, hoping they pass the test. But look, the key to absolutely crushing it requires a huge mindset shift. From this moment on, you are not a candidate, you're a salesperson. And this interview? Well, that's your first pitch. And what exactly are you selling? Simple. You are. You're the product. Your skills, your personality, your drive. That's what's on the table. The whole interview is a sales process from start to finish. And this right here, this is your strategy guide to close that deal. You know, just like in any good sale, your first job is to establish that you're a good fit. The interviewer needs to understand what makes you tick. They're sitting there thinking, okay, why are you really here? And do you have that fundamental fire in your belly to actually succeed in sales? This is almost always the first question out of the gate. And believe me, your answer sets the entire tone for the rest of the conversation. A generic, canned response just isn't going to cut it. You need a solid, structured answer that shows you've got real, calculated ambition. So, what does a great answer look like? Well, it has three parts. First, you start with the professional side. You tell them you thrive on challenge, you love hitting ambitious targets. Then you make it personal. You connect that drive to a real-life goal, like saving up for a house. That shows deep, genuine commitment. And finally, you tie it all together with the human element. You're a people person who values building real long-term relationships, not just chasing a quick win. It's a perfect story of ambition, commitment, and connection. Okay, so once you've established your why, it's time to prove you have the tools to actually get the job done. This is where you open up your toolkit and show them you are fully equipped and ready to go from day one. And this isn't just a random list, you know? This is the blueprint for a top sales performer. You've got to have confidence, but let's be clear, not arrogance. You need deep product knowledge, which we're going to come back to because it's huge. And this one is crucial: exceptional listening skills. Sales isn't about talking at people anymore. It's about listening to what they actually need. Then you round it out with relationship building, an entrepreneurial spirit to find those creative angles, and the adaptability to change on a dime. I love this phrase because it gets to the absolute heart of modern sales. It's not about the bells and whistles. It's about trust and human connection. Your ability to build genuine rapport, that's the foundation for everything else. Without it, the rest of your toolkit is basically useless. Now remember this because it's so important. Confidence comes from competence. The only way to be truly, unshakably confident in a sales situation is to have an obsessive, deep knowledge of what you're selling. If you don't know that product inside and out, the second you get a tough question, your confidence is just going to crumble. Now, let's get real. Every single salesperson faces rejection and tough negotiations. It's part of the job. But the best candidates, they don't just survive these moments, they have a strategy for them. Let's dig into how you can prove your resilience when the pressure is really on. This right here is such a powerful way to reframe the situation. Rejection isn't failure, it's just data. It's your chance to figure out what went wrong, tweak your approach, and get better for next time. Answering like this proves you see setbacks as stepping stones, not dead ends. And that is exactly what hiring managers are looking for. And let's be super clear about something. Handling rejection is not the same thing as strategically walking away from a sale. They're two different animals. Rejection is something that happens to you. Walking away, well, that's a power move you make. You do it when you know a customer is just wasting your time. Or, and this is the expert level play, you do it to create a sense of urgency and take back control of the negotiation. That shows real experience and strategic thinking. All right, we've laid the foundation, we've showcased our toolkit, and we've proven we can handle the pressure. Now it's time for the close. This is the moment where you bring it all home and spell out exactly why you are the one they need to hire, period. And here it is, the final test. They're asking you point blank to sell yourself over every other person they're talking to. Just like that first question, a weak or wishy-washy answer here is an absolute deal breaker. You need a confident, three-part closing argument. So here's your final pitch. First, you commit to becoming an absolute expert on their products, even on your own time. That shows incredible initiative. Second, you double down on your focus on building long-term relationships, turning customers into fans. That shows you're thinking about lifetime value, not just a quick commission.
And third, you look them in the eye and declare your ability to close the deal. And you finish with a statement just like this one. It's powerful, it's direct, it's definitive, and it leaves zero room for doubt. It tells them you get the entire sales cycle, from that first hello to getting that final yes. This isn't just an answer to a question, it's the closing line of your very first successful sale to this company. So, what's the real takeaway here? A sales interview isn't about getting all the answers right. It's about showing them you can execute a perfect sale from start to finish with you as the product. The best salespeople, they don't just sell things, they solve problems. And the first problem you're there to solve is the company's need for a top performer. So go solve it.